Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's 4:31 and we're convening the December 17th regular meeting of the Personnel Commission. I think probably just ought to call the roll and establish a quorum again. Please go ahead.
Chairperson Goldstein,
Present?
Vice Chairperson Alpert,
Present.
Commissioner Roeder.
Here.
Great, we have a quorum. I will move on. That is sort of going to be item 6A on our agenda, I think. We'll move on to item 7 for public comments. So this is a 15-minute period where members of the public can make a comment on something that is not on our agenda. I don't know. It looks like maybe some people have joined the Zoom room or no? Yeah. All right. Well, we'll start here in the physical room. Is there anyone here who would like to make a comment? No? Okay. And do we have anybody in Zoom room? Okay, it's December. It's almost the holidays. Okay, no comments. There is another comment session at the end of our meeting, and maybe we'll try again there. Let's move on to item 8, approval and adoption of the agenda. Commissioner Roeder?
Madam Chairperson, I'd like to move 11G on the consent calendar for discussion, please.
Okay. And Commissioner Alpert?
No modifications for me.
No. I think I'd like to add 11C and 11F to what Commissioner Roeder has asked for in terms of 11G. Do I have a motion for those three?
So moved as amended. Second.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to item 9, approval of the meeting minutes. So these are our meeting minutes from our last regular meeting, November 17th. Do I have any
I just wanted to make changes.
any comments? Commissioner Soul, any comments on the nope, on the, okay. Do I have somebody's motion with respect to?
Move approval. Second.
And I agree.
And I will ask you just to speak up a little bit because I am.
Oh, is it
Definitely.
coming through in waves?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that.
No.
Okay. Let's move on to item 10, different reports. So the first is union. Do we have anybody from the union?
Denise has joined, but I don't think that she's speaking for the union.
No. Denise, is that true?
Yes, that's true. I'm not speaking for the union.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, let's move on to the district. If the union comes, we'll try again at the end of this item. Anybody from the district?
Nope.
No one here. Okay. Let's move on to commissioners. Commissioner reports? Commissioner Roeder?
Thank you. So first, I wanted to report that I attended the November 19th, I think that's the right date, November 19th para educator job recruitment fair and in this room. And I want to compliment the people who are here, Aaron, Brian, Sarah, who are all working diligently, and Samantha Tobias Espinoza, Malika, others from HR. Olga was handling the testing aspect of it. And, you know, what struck me, besides how crowded it was and how many applicants there were, was how incredibly well organized it all was. And there were, you should have seen it. I mean, there were stations for everything that needed to be done. There were first people lined up or went to someone, a greeter outside from HR, then in speak to Brian, then eventually Sarah kind of ushered the person to various places. Someone, Lana from HR, handling the HR aspects. There was fingerprinting that could be handled, TB, not TB tests, but getting online for TB. There was onboarding in one of the rooms that Malika was handling. It was just, soup to nuts. People left and were pretty much employees of BUSD at that point. There were still other things that had to be done, like reference checks and things like that. But nonetheless, it was fantastic. So kudos to everyone who participated in that. And then the other thing is happy holidays to everybody, and wishing everyone very happy holiday season, restful season, and looking forward to next year. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you. Mr. F.
I will echo the holiday cheer. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and whatever else. I am pleased to report I was able to attend a conference with my rent board hat at the DSA Fund, which is a nonprofit educational wing of DSA, which brought together folks from across the country, including someone from it was in New Orleans, and there was someone from the New Orleans School Board who the minority of one on her school board, but she, is from a school district where they completely charterized their entire district in the aftermath of Katrina, where there were no public schools in all of New Orleans. So that's something that they are hoping to change. But it's just interesting always seeing from colleagues around the country and the different sort of challenges we face, similar struggles, but also very different ones. And my only other report is that I unfortunately had to fly with a cold, and so now I can't hear anything. So if people could do their best to speak up, because I'm partially deaf.
Happy to do that,
Yes,
and
but-
sorry,
No.
sorry to hear that. Okay, and my comments are fairly brief. Right after our last meeting, I got the flu that is going around. I'm just starting to feel like myself, so not much has happened for me since that time. I really appreciate Commissioner Roeder's description of how the job fair went. I was eager to hear about it, and I knew it had to be successful because when I looked at the list of hires for November, it knocked my socks off.
Yes.
So I really want to thank commission staff and HR for some amazing work, filling these vacancies. And echo happy holidays to everybody. And now let's just take one more sweep. Union District, anybody here? Okay, then we give it over to our executive director.
Okay, it's gonna sound a little repetitive, but so just want to wish, I just want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. I'll begin, as always, with the activity report for November, which you can find on page 8 of our agenda today. We actually generated 8 new eligibility lists this month. This is all also despite the Thanksgiving break, so our PC staff was very busy. We administered 173 exams in total, and so we averaged nearly 11 exams per day. And then, as you mentioned, Heidi, we also had an increased hiring activity, so that was like, we saw on page 8 an impressive total of 30 new hires and 2 rehires and 1 promotion were processed. So again, thanks to our PC staff and then our HM staff who do it without them. So our someone in our PC staff, Brian, actually, I'm just gonna his name, he actually was able to attend a Project Para hiring event. So right before we held our event on the 19th, he attended an event hosted by ACOAE, the Alameda County Office of Ed. And this event is just to connect graduates with school districts. And so he was able to attend and invite everyone there to our event held on the 19th. So just as Izzy mentioned, it was like a wonderful day of, our candidates got to apply, test, and begin onboarding on the same day. We had about 39 folks attend, and even though the attendance was a bit lower, of course, than our previous event, it was encouraging to see that many of them had already been familiar with the process, or they were referred by colleagues, or actually had already started and completed some of the steps, so they have already applied or tested online, so it actually helped us move people along, so the quality of those candidates was great that day. So this month, I know you're all used to seeing an ISBED staffing report. We're actually currently, we didn't bring it to the meeting today as we typically do. Thanks to like the Thanksgiving holiday, the week off that staff was out. And our team just kind of focusing on catching up from the hiring event and processing all the candidates, getting them set up online. Uploading all those applications, and then also getting HR support to onboard. We realized that report is changing daily, so we did get to check in with staff before the meeting today, and we can report out a summary, which we may have or not, maybe not. Okay, that's okay. But I can report out a summary at least from the report that shows that we have 12 new from the last date that we ran the report. So we have 12 new IAT sped hires, only one separation, and then 49 active contractors, which is 7 less than the month before that. So we're updating the report, and we're preparing it for our upcoming sped staffing and recruitment subcommittee. The first meeting is scheduled for the second week of January, so a formal invitation for that has already been sent out. And we've had several of those invited already RSVP. So we'll be bringing that report back to our next PC meeting in January. Also, we continue to collaborate with the after school team. I know I've already reported out that the board approved 10 new IT positions. And so due to this approval and our recruitment and our recent hiring event, we're now close again to filling all of those new positions. So we're hoping and expecting to be fully staffed for those IT classifications or positions by this month or next month. So again, a significant milestone for our district. And then finally, I just want to mention that, there are some projects that I'm looking forward to working on this upcoming year and bringing forward maybe at our next PC meeting. I do want to have a discussion around these advanced step placements that we're receiving, and then looking at some adjustments to our rubric. So, just kind of try to find a way to strategically consider advanced step recruiting potentially for certain hard to fill classifications. And so you might be seeing that at our next meeting as well. So I want to wish everyone a wonderful winter break. I've seen firsthand how hard our staff work, and everybody needs that time to rest and reset. My report.
Just
There on the 49 contractors for ISPEDS. I had, are you able to hear me, Sally? I had listened to or watched forget the date, I think it's December 10th, board meeting. And toward the end of that board meeting, Samantha Tobias Espinoza reported that I believe at that time, as of that date, there were, quote, only 14 vacancies for ISPEDS, which was a tremendous reduction in the number of vacancies from what we had had previously. So I'm just trying to get a handle. So first off, I think that those 10 vacancies or 14 vacancies included, and I think the number was 47, the 47 FTE that the Board of Education last summer approved. So, because those people would be included these now as vacancies.
Correct.
But it wouldn't have included I think you've identified either 30 or 27, the number does fluctuate. And I think it's individuals, not necessarily FTE, but individuals for whom no FTE actually exists currently. So right, the 14 does not include them.
No.
How about these 49 contractors? What proportion of the 49 contractors would be considered vacancies versus those for whom there's no FTE?
Yeah, we weren't able to do such a deep dive on the contractors that are filling positions that are not accounted for. We have, we weren't really able to get that number just yet because the number of vacancies is fluctuating. But last time, we reported about there were 30 something positions with contractors that are not accounted for. And the reason I know that they haven't brought those 30 new positions to the board yet for approval is because it seems like some contractors are in positions that don't even need to be at the site, so they're trying to get a better grasp of what's actually needed at each site. And so I think this is definitely gonna be work we're gonna be able to tackle in our committee.
And I'm pretty sure from the perspective of the Board of Education, they don't necessarily want to add FTE while there are vacancies in existence. That's an issue. And so do you know, there were 14 on December 10th. Do you know how many vacancies there currently are approximately?
I know we just looked at the vacancy report yesterday. I don't have the number at the
So
top.
the number I have is 24,
Yeah,
and that doesn't include the unaccounted for positions
Okay, so 24.
24 as of
today.
this morning. So I'm not
Guess
sure.
is there weren't 10 quits.
There's gonna be a little false
Yeah.
precision
Yeah,
problem
there is,
for
there
a
is,
while
there is.
about how things are counted.
There is,
Yeah,
there is.
Yeah, because we
Okay,
looked at a vacancy report yesterday and this morning. We were just trying to clean it up. And that's how many we counted. The 14 could be, also, we know that there's some onboarding, there's a queue for onboarding, and so maybe it was taking that into account, I'm not sure.
okay. And you coordinate with HR on these numbers, right? So
Yeah.
you're both coming up with the same tally.
So we are all provided a vacancy report, the same report, and then when I prepare for our PC meetings, I definitely have to update, we use that report as a base. But also there's always changes every day, and so, but yeah, for the most part, we are collaborating with HR.
And last question, Sarah, that 24 number, is that individuals? Is that a head count?
Those are headcount,
That's
yes.
a head count.
And
So it's at least conceivable, in fact, it's undoubtedly the case, that 24 head count results in less FTE.
yes,
Definitely.
yeah.
So that
And then some
could
are
account for
not true, some are not true vacancies. I know there's a few that are partial that the schools don't plan to fill in that 24. So that could be where Sam might have gotten her number because I know there's 0.2s, and I don't know if you're not counting those or if you are counting those, but.
I can't remember right now if I did.
Yeah, so it might have just been.
Okay.
So,
I would
Okay, thank you.
suggest that, BUSD is no different than any other organization where you're trying to get your arms around something that you have not been counting for a while. You have a lot of contractors. So the metric that I'm looking at the most is trying to understand how the contractor ranks are being reduced. Because one way or another, we are either figuring out it was somebody in a role we didn't need, or we're not gonna continue, or it was somebody in a role for somebody who was on an LOA who came back. I mean, there are, 15 different reasons why you might have had a contractor. But I think, the thing that will drive you least crazy is looking at how the contractor roles are being reduced. And if we're making progress there, I'm less worried about the vacancies.
Yeah.
So,
Frank has his hand up.
okay. Frank, please go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. I apologize. I came in a little late. Is there any way we could throw that up in the chat? Do we have the report that so we can just look at it? I'm not sure if it was thrown in the chat already.
We haven't seen the report either.
No,
This is
there's
just a
nothing in
summary.
it.
Right, there's no report this,
Sorry.
this time around. We're talking about some general numbers that were shared with HR and with the commission earlier this week. Is that?
Yeah, so Frank, we weren't able to get a report done ahead of this meeting this month.
Thanks.
Anybody have any other questions, comments? No, okay, I don't think I see any hands raised
Does Frank want to give a report?
I
online.
wonder if Frank has a union.
Yeah, Frank, we're still in the report phase. Do you have a report for the union you'd like to give?
Sure. Sure. It's okay to give it now.
Please.
So this is kind of, hot off the press. I haven't shared this with our members yet in an email or anything. We've been working on it for a while. But the USD and BCCE has come to a conceptual agreement. They haven't signed a TA yet.
Nice.
And basically what we did, this is through the class and comp. Class and comp is still ongoing. We're still negotiating job descriptions and, wages, but this is part of it. So I think we're trying to just tackle what we can as we go instead of doing it all at the end. It seems like, but anyway, what we TA'd on conceptually was we gave one range. I'm not sure if that's a good way of saying it, but we gave one range to the NSAs, NSOs, SPED 1 and SPED 2s. So the reasoning behind this, I think it needs to be said, is the NSAs are nutrition services assistant and operators. They are 25% below market through the class and comp. They are by far the lowest. Even with the one range, I might have step, I apologize, one range for clarity. So we gave one range to all these positions. Even with that one range, just doing some quick math, they would probably still be, 18% below. It's like 2.5% per range. So they would still be, I never did the math. I'm just thinking it would still be, because if we were trying to get 2 ranges, which would still put them below that would give them about 50%. I mean, I'm sorry, 12% below market or somewhere around 13%. And then they've been notorious over the years of being hard to fill positions of the nutrition services, but they have, since most of them are FTE of a 1 now, they kind of calmed down with the revolving door, but they were pretty bad there for a while. But they're still lowest range that we have in the district. So the the negotiating team really wanted to target those 2 classifications because they were 25% below market. And then we also targeted the SPED 1 and 2. SPED 1 only has 3 positions currently. SPED 2s have around 190. They are by far the biggest unit or the biggest positions that we have. They were also about 10% below market for this area. And as everyone knows, they're hard to fill, extremely hard to fill. So that's the reasoning why the negotiating team targeted those positions. We all know that there are plenty of other positions that need to be targeted, but we felt that those 2 really need to be hit first, and then hopefully we can come back and get some more. And just want to say happy holidays, everyone. We're coming up on that time, and that's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. That's great news.
Nice guitars.
Can I ask a follow-up question for Frank?
Sure.
Frank, so first off, happy holidays to you too,
Thank you.
and for all your union members. So for the IA speds, first off, for the nutrition services, you were talking about one range. And does that also apply for the IA speds?
Yes.
And when you say range, I just want to make sure I'm understanding it right. When you say range, does that mean no steps? In other words, maybe it's at the highest step or whatever step you agreed upon. Is that what is meant by one range? Or is it an actual range and then there's 5 steps within the range?
That's a good question. So my interpretation would be that everybody would be put on the next range. And there might be a position here or there. I think there's one that there is no current range that would have to be created. I think that's 30. I think it's 29 to 30. There's 30 is no range, but each range is roughly 2.5%.
So what you're referring to is there's they've been put into a higher range, but there are still the 5 steps within that range.
Yes.
Okay.
And that would take effect. I didn't say this,
Yeah.
that would take effect January 1st.
That's included in the BABA part of the agenda. What I'm sharing is in our agenda, in the BABA discussion, there's, the range, the relative ranges are shown there, so at least gives you an idea. Right now, IA2s are in range 36, right?
Right.
So what I think you're saying, Frank, is that everybody's being moved to range 36,
37.
37,
Higher.
okay.
And I hate to say this, but my assumption, I think everybody's assumption is they would carry their step with them. You wouldn't take
Right,
item
right.
step 6 and go to 1, and you would carry it with you.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
And that's we did some, math, and that's what the math would dictate. So I'm pretty confident that that's how it would happen.
All right, and the TAs are pending for this, right? I mean.
Yeah, I'm hoping to sign it today or tomorrow.
Wow.
I mean, when I say TA is that both parties agree on it, as a TA.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there would be any, and maybe, I'm sorry, Aaron could help us out with this. I don't think there needs to be a vote, or maybe just a rubber stamp with with either you guys or the board. I'm not sure. Maybe Aaron knows.
Well, no, not us.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
generally, the TAs get voted on,
Yeah.
when we get them all together, right by the
It
board.
doesn't go for PT.
Yeah. Okay, no, but I'm glad, I'm delighted to hear the class and comp study got used, gave us valuable information and that we were able to make some progress on this. The hope being also, as folks will see as this meeting goes on, we have had progressively more advanced step requests as we have filled out the ranks of the IA, SPED, IT, IS positions. We've gotten a tremendous number of advanced step requests. So, something that starts to adjust that below market problem maybe will help
To be
mitigate.
honest with you,
Yeah.
it would have been nice to get all these positions more ranges, but as everyone knows, we're in a crunch time with our budget, so
Mhm.
it makes it tough, but so we squeezed this one out as much as we could.
Nice.
Great.
Well, great. That's good news. So while we're doubling back, is there anybody from the district or?
No.
Okay, I think we move on then. Let's move on to item 11. These are the consent items. We talked about wanting to pull a few of the items for discussion. So 11C, F, and G. And since Commissioner Roeder asked for G, and I also had an interest in G, why don't we go ahead and discuss 11G?
Okay, let me find that page. Right, page 15, so, I know we have all received a number of emails, from, interested parties, teachers, other staff at Cragmont about the secretarial position there. Don't need to belabor what the issues are, but clearly to me, there is a temporary employee, Sharmila Wright, who is working as a secretary there. And this person, from all accounts, is doing a fantastic job. And of course, this eligibility list that we're talking about tonight impacts her and that position. So, and I take very seriously the comments that were sent to us about Ms. Wright. So that's number one. I had a couple of questions, I think, just informational for Aaron. So one question is for the school administrative assistant two position, how many vacancies either do we currently actually have or do we anticipate having in a very short period of time?
So currently, we have one vacancy and that already is, there is a candidate already that is being onboarded to fill that vacancy.
So that is not, well, let me ask you, is the Cragmont position considered a vacancy?
Yes,
And is the Cragmont position the one you're referring to?
yes. Yes. Because,
And there's somebody being onboarded right now?
Yes.
And that's happening before, is it a person who's
it's
on
from a previous list,
from a previous?
Yeah.
list?
Yeah.
From a previous. list.
Yeah. It's kind of an older list, we generated a new list for at the time, there were two vacancies. And so we generated a new list because we anticipated that we need more substitutes, that were gonna be placed in limited term assignments, and that because there's just always turnover in this classification, and so, you know, we wanted to get a fresh list, but there is already a candidate that is, well, actually, so is being offered a position. I'm not sure if that candidate accepted yet.
And what's the expiration date for that list?
That other list, I don't know.
Can you find that out
Yes,
during our meeting?
yes, I can find it out during the meeting.
Okay. Okay, well, that kind of puts a little monkey wrench into my thinking, anyway. You know, I don't know if there's anybody here or online who wanted to speak to this particular eligibility list. Or if the union had any thoughts. I assume that the union has received some of the emails or emails like them about the secretary at Cragmont School. But if the union does have any thoughts or anybody else, I'd be interested in hearing them.
And March 23rd is the date.
The prior list.
Yeah.
March 26th, okay. Frank, is Frank on? Is there
Yeah.
anything- Any comments on this one?
Honestly, I know what you're talking about. I got a phone call and I had to take it, so I didn't hear all your comments. Trying to tiptoe around this one, to be honest with you. You know, the merit rules are the merit rules, and I would love it if she could get the position. I'll say that, but I don't know if that's something that could be done through merit rules. Am I saying that correct? Is that what we're talking about?
No, I
I have a question about when we use this list for subs. Do we kind of go down the ordinal list for subs?
There's many different ways to use these lists for sub. So sometimes when we're notified in advance that an administrator or manager needs a sub, and that assignment will go past 15 days, then we can look at our list and then sometimes the PC staff will call candidates on the list and find out if they're interested in assignment. Sometimes we send the list, the entire list over to, depends on how, urgent the
Mhm.
request is. In this particular case, unfortunately, the, the, the sub assignment was made without the PC's review or without the PC being notified or noticed. And so a sub was placed in that one assignment that was not on the school admin 2 list. And so that's
okay.
happened sometimes, like when we don't have a list. Or when we know that it's gonna be a short assignment and
Mhm.
it's kind of, hard to know sometimes how long an assignment will go. In this particular case, there was an employee whose layoff was rescinded. And so the employee got to go back to her position, and so leaving this vacancy, and so,
Got it.
people just moved fast, got a readily available sub that they knew about, and then put her in.
Who was not on any list?
Who was not on that list.
Got it.
at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, and so,
Was the person on any list?
she is now on the list.
No, I meant at the
Yeah,
time.
she was
she
in
was
a,
slotted
I
in.
believe it was an admin 1 list,
Mhm.
administrative assistant 1, I
Hmm.
think is what it was.
Mhm.
Brian can confirm, but not the list for that position,
Mhm. Got it. So what we're seeing here for this individual is this individual now qualifying for the admin 2 position.
but not in the top three.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Okay, yeah.
And I, just so you all know, I spoke to this myself, I called her about 2 days ago, and I explained how the process works. And, she was very, grateful to have, understood how the placement was made and what the next steps were, and I assured her, because I can almost guarantee that when we have a great sub, and it sounds like she is, they will eventually get placed in a permanent position in the district, because, we value our clerical subs. And this list in particular gets used a lot. There's turnover all the time, and so as soon as the next vacancy opens up, of course, I will send the top 3 ranks, but we move down this list. These folks, that might be in higher ranks might not be available anymore. This
Right.
month or next, so it changes.
So you're anticipating my next question, which is, when you send the top 3 ranks, does that mean you're sending the 3 number 1 ranks, or does it mean you're actually sending through rank number 3?
So I have to send the promotionals, and they count as 1 subs, I have to send those first.
Mhm.
So it would be the promotional number 1, and then rank 1, there's a tie there. So
Right.
the 2 go in rank 1, and then the second open rank would be the 3rd rank.
Okay, got it.
So
Okay.
that in total is 3 ranks.
And what happens there is that goes to the hiring manager, who I guess is the site principal, right?
Yes,
And the site principal interviews.
Yeah.
Right? And if that person needs more ranks, they will let you know.
they have to make a selection. If all of
Unless these folks are no longer available.
If one of them is not available, we let them know to let us know right away, we
Mhm.
verify, and then we send them the next rank.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So answered. And I.
oh, thank you. Okay.
I just to echo some of the sentiment that's already been shared, I wanted to appreciate all the members of the public and the folks at Cragmont who wrote to us, and I really appreciate the work that the sub has been doing.
Yeah.
Subs are really important for the district and for the work of ensuring the continued operations as things happen. It sounds like there's nothing that we can do or should do about this list, right? The process is, there's already a list. Approving or not approving this list will not have any bearing on the process that's going on. But I'm glad that she has been placed. Now she's on 2 lists. She's on 1 and 2, and
Yeah.
and so hopefully, I look forward to her coming to work for the district again in the future. It sounds like she's done a great job, and we look forward to having her again.
Question.
Please.
When there's a substitute in a position or a limited term employee, thank you, in a position. And then there's a new recruitment for a list, for new list. does that sub get notice of the new recruitment?
So-
From anybody?
Yeah, so those subs are all on our listserv, our classified listserv.
Okay.
We also encourage managers to forward or to remind their subs to apply. Do we personally notify every sub when we do recruitment in like an intentional way? Unfortunately, no, like that doesn't happen like directly, but they are on the listserv for the classified. They
They
receive,
receive.
and they're checking, you know, if they're in a clerical role with the district, they're checking their emails every day. So they should be,
And then in addition, am I right, that a vacancy gets posted? And what the personnel commission does, what your office does, is provide the site head or the secretary at the site with the notice of the vacancy or of the recruitment, and then that site head or his or her designee is responsible for posting that on a billboard or, bulletin board or something. Is that the process? That's my.
they should be, posting in their bulletin. But now with the listservs and everything, they also all get it in their.
Right, but if that's in addition, and you affirmatively do tell the site head by an email, there's a vacancy.
Yes.
Here's the vacancy, you need to post this, on your bulletin board.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there any more discussion on item G? Anybody? No? Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about the other ones that we pulled, just to have that, and I think we'll be able to vote. I had asked for 11D because it had a 50-day recruitment period and which was sort of a thin number of ranks. So D is the instructional specialist for dance.
Page.
Page number 11.
Thank you.
So, and just as a matter of course, I always just ask for a little bit of narrative on, what happened here and,
Yeah.
what we might try doing differently next time.
Yeah, so this particular recruitment is always very challenging. We have a very, very limited candidate pool. And so, and I know in this particular case, we had to coordinate. We ran the first exam. There was only one candidate that I believe took the written exam, the first exam. And then, and it happened to be the sub that was already working on the site, in a limited term assignment. And so when we were trying to schedule it was a performance-based exam, we had a very, very challenging time securing the location and then also, getting the graders because it was, they needed to be subject matter experts. And so typically they're teachers. And so we just had a hard time coordinating their schedules to present for that exam, so.
Got it.
This is not typical of how long our.
No, it's very atypical. Have we thought anything about where else we could recruit?
Or. that particular-
I mean, I realize it doesn't come up all that often, but it comes
Yeah.
up a couple times a year.
Yeah, the IS dance.
Mhm.
To be honest, I think that we can definitely do better at trying to target that recruitment a little more. It's just one of those challenging roles that we don't know exactly where, we try to get feedback from our raters. If they know of any locations, but,
I'm also just thinking for candidates.
yeah.
Really, and I don't know.
Yeah, our candidates, like we ask our raters if they know of sites where we could recruit.
Right,
Because they tend
or
to be-
dance companies that we
Right.
could reach out to,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I do know that, for example, Oakland School for the Arts, just because I know how they do this. They actually reach out to local dance companies because the dancers often, want to teach, to supplement what they're doing there. And, that probably is as good a way as any, ODC, Alonzo Lines, hell, San Francisco Ballet, you never know, right?
True.
Oakland Valley.
It's challenging too, because it is such a small FTE. A lot of these IS positions are like 0.2.
Yeah.
0.3.
Which actually is not bad for dancers.
It's not bad. no,
Right.
It's not impossible, because often they are kind of like in between.
Right.
Jobs, so, yeah.
Okay, but thank you. I appreciate your explaining, just, you know, at least also what the story was with the Indigo. Okay, so the other is, 11F. And the reason I'm asking about 11F is on page 14. So this is a position for the commission. So, can you just tell us a little bit about how this recruitment went?
Sure. So this is this is our in-house, personnel commission, position, newly established. When we, decided to, recruit, we actually, I personally, handled most of the recruitment, because I needed to take it off of our shared database, just in case there were internals that were applying for the role, so I took it and made it private, and then I decided to, only seek external, because of that reason, I only relied on external, raters for the exams, so that's also why there's a slightly longer interval there. I had to get, external subject matter experts to score, the first exam, and then build a panel of external raters for the second exam, and so it was a bit more challenging. But it was a successful recruitment in the end. We got more than 3 rounds.
So you wore the recruiter
Yeah,
hat also
Yes.
for a little while?
Yeah.
Okay. And this was one, you know, all things considered, it was fairly speedy, right? This one was what, 28 days? 28 days, yeah. Okay, great, glad to know. Anybody have other questions? Okay, I think we might be ready to vote then on consent items,
I'll move adoption of the consent calendar.
Second,
and I agree. So all items A through H are approved. Let's move on now to our conference items, and we have many conference items.
Yes.
And I noticed someone is here in the room. I don't know, are you attached to a conference item? Which one are you attached to?
very good.
The BAPA specialist. Program specialist.
Should we
Yeah,
rearrange and do that one first, just to not make you sit through any more than you need to? All right, so what we have to do things in an order here for BAPA, so we need to do J, I, and then J, right? So we're gonna move those up. And I'm sorry, I should have gotten that all clear when we were talking about the agenda earlier and meant to have forgotten.
Okay. Are we ready? Item I,
Sure, item I is
oh wait.
page 68, right?
Item A.
No, item I and J
Oh, I'm
for
sorry.
BAPA.
So this item, this first item establishes a new classification titled the BAPA Program Specialist. This action actually corrects a misalignment in the work that the incumbent was doing in their role as family engagement and equity specialist, but working for the BAPA department. And so through numerous interviews, observations, and depth audits, it became clear that the role requires specialized music knowledge and also instructional experience. And so these were not reflected at all in the prior classification. We took the duties to the board, and those were approved at the December 10th board meeting. And so based on those updated minimum qualifications also with the specialized nature work. I also am recommending an update to the salary placement from range 51 to range 54 on the classic salary schedule. I know that the incumbent is here today. And so, if there is something and I do want to point out that this request came in, both from the incumbent, but also from the VAPA program manager. And so, I don't know if she has anything she wants to add to.
Let me start with questions the commissioners have, and then we'll move on. So, commissioners, do you have questions about this one? Commissioner Roder?
We don't, Yes, I have, on the, education and experience, and I've seen this before, and I don't entirely understand what it means. It says any combination equivalent to the completion of college level coursework in music theory, music education, or related field, and at least 3 years of experience. What does, completion of college level coursework mean? Does that mean 1 unit, 10 units, 100 units? I'm assuming it doesn't mean graduation. It doesn't necessarily mean either an AA or a BA. Right, it doesn't mean that.
Right.
So is it just basically any amount of college level coursework would satisfy, as far as a minimum qualification is concerned?
Yes, that's right.
Again.
Okay. And no questions from you. I'd like to understand a little bit how you landed on the recommendation of range 54.
Right. So, we can be helpful to turn to, the salary analysis. Well, maybe I'll speak first to, internal alignment chart that I included on page 84. So, if you look at the first 2 columns, I included where each classification lands as far as salary range. And so initially, the classification for the family engagement equity specialist is on salary range 51. However, when I looked at the minimum qualifications and then just the added duties in general, there was a need to raise those qualifications. I included also those MQs in the 3rd column so that we could compare them. And so I found that they were most comparable to, internally to our after school program specialist, which is at a range 54. And so due to the added duties, the added education and mostly the added experience that was required for this, very specialized role. And so the other thing I did was that I went out to other districts to look up similar positions. And so you can see that's going to be on page 85. It was first of all, almost impossible to find like the exact same position, or it's very similar because, Miss J has been, doing just like a broad range of work, both in the former position she was in as family engagement, and then even comparables in our district like the IS music, and then the work she does specifically for VAPA. I found only like manager level positions that were, very similar to the duties that Jay performed. And so I included those in that chart. I did not find anything that was non-manager other than credentialed teaching positions.
Mhm.
So, that was, I kind of had to go back to where we are internally, how we align that with our current, classifications, and that's sort of where I landed.
And how much would you say of the specialist position overlapped in terms of duties with the peer, such that it was management roles that you saw?
I mean, a lot, really,
Really?
I found a lot, I mean, there were job descriptions that really described, with the exception that, of course, they had to manage probably larger budgets, because these are really big school districts that I looked at.
Right.
And they also had to manage, us, like, staff,
Mhm.
teachers, and other, like, technical technicians.
And this role does not manage budget or staff.
There is
Right.
budget oversight,
Mhm.
in this role, but yeah, not staff.
Mhm.
Although she, Miss Weinge, she could probably speak more to it, but she definitely is kind of like she oversees a lot of other uh teaching classes that take place, and advises teachers in their roles as well, so,
Got it.
yeah.
Do commissioners have any other questions before I go to our individual who's in this role? No? Okay. Would you like to speak?
Oh, happy holidays, or happy break coming up. I basically was just come here if you had questions. One of the difficulties of being in BAPA is like we're a school within a school or a district within a district, and it's a very niche thing. But I'm just glad and appreciate the work that Erin has done and that my supervisor has done to try to shore up the kind of mystery around how to block in this job and how to make it so that I'm working within my class.
Mhm.
Since I've been doing that for like 4 years without matching my job description, so I'm just appreciative that we could kind of resolve this issue.
You've been very patient.
And I mean, one thing when you're working with kids and you work within the education, patience is a necessity.
Totally.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I don't see it as anybody like not caring or anything. I think it was just that this is a unique position. There's another position that's in BAPA that went through the same issue, and that's the BAPA technician.
Mhm.
Because that was under the librarian tech. And although there are some things that overlap with the librarian tech as far as checking in instruments and checking out, there was also the large breadth of you have to know what a cello is, you have to know what a trombone is, you have to know where to take it if it needs to be fixed. And so I think when it comes to any art, like just looking at the factor of when you say, okay, what can you do to recruit dancers? The music and arts community is a niche. And so you really do have to have a network. I deal with the same thing where we're down music teachers, really hard to find. So a lot of times I have to go to the different universities to recruit from them, San Francisco State, Sacramento State. I also have to recruit from the music industry in itself. And sometimes I may find somebody that I'm at a concert, or I'm like, hey, I like the way you're working, or if I'm working at a camp, I can see somebody how they work with kids, and then I actually help them go through the process of getting their credential, starting them off from that. So when you're dealing with the arts, most people do not have a degree, but they have plenty of experience. And sometimes that clashes with our procedures and policies and coming around to hire people, because the first thing they say, I don't have a credential. They may have 25, 30 years in a particular art form, but without that credential, they can't even get through the door. So we try to do supportive measures. So that was a large part of my job, is to try to shore up finding artists, and sometimes dancers, ironically, for the in-house things we were doing, and also for music teachers, so that we could build up and shore up our recruitment. And then it's just a matter of making sure that our kids are supported. VSEP is a very large tax measure that's been going on for years. And we want to be able to offer kids the ability to do music, but at the same time, we want to make sure that they have the support. We talk math, we talk English. A kid doesn't understand something, we have reading recovery specialists, we have math specialists, we have after-school programs. But you have a situation where we are saying for fifth graders, it's mandatory for them to do music. But when they go home and their mom is like, what is this? This is a clarinet. And they don't have a way to assist them, then we're kind of setting them up to fail if we don't have some programs and resources for them. So that's another aspect. I think the largest portion of difficulty is that I'm K through 8. So that's 11 elementaries, 3 middle schools. And then I do, as you know, dabble into the high school, and I track kids all the way through. A lot of people say, oh, that's a large job, but my previous job to this is I used to be a juvenile case manager for the Richmond Police Department. And I was the only one in civilian, so I was monitoring not just that city, but all surrounding Contra Costa County. So that this is more of a step back of relaxation where I only have to deal with a couple of thousand as opposed to dealing with a larger number. And with that, I had the ACLU that I had to work with because we were under decree for that. So there were reports that I was giving out regularly. So coming here is refreshing. I get to use my 35 years of doing music and arts. And so it's kind of a pleasure seeing kids and getting them their dreams of doing music. So I don't look at anybody overlooking my position or making me work something and not within my class. I think this was just a situation where people weren't sure what was needed in there, and as things were needed, they were like, hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do that? And after a couple of years, we found that we were very far from what the job description was. And then as what you faced, well, what then is the job description, and not being able to find something comparable within the district kind of was a hurdle that we hit. But through the desk audit and observation, and then the support of my supervisor and staff around, we were able to really come to a conclusion of what would be the best move at this point. And so that's what has brought me here. So mainly I have to send all of that saying as my phone is going off because of concerts tonight, and kids all dressed up and people now. And that's another thing. I love that part where I get the email right now. There's a kid that doesn't have black pants. Sometimes it's as simple as that, where I gotta go back to the office, I grab some black pants and some black socks, and I get them in there. Or it's as large where there's a kid that this is their only way of feeling safe. Music is a lot more than people believe. Sometimes it's the only place where a kid that can't talk in class, that doesn't feel like they have friends, can find safety in music. And I'll go talk to the parent and the kid, and I'll sit with them and play some music with them. So it's a range, but I'm grateful that I'm able to come back to my roots. I am a Berkeley student. I was here at Malcolm X all the way through, and my kids went all the way through. And my mom went all the way through. So it feels good to give back to the very place that grew me into the person that I love to be. So that's the basic gist of it.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
And every time I talk to Jay, I feel like I need to revise her job description because she's doing recruiting and she's doing outfitting. Like, it's impossible.
You know what, one thing that actually you didn't mention that I'm curious about, which is budget oversight wise, what does that mean for you?
So what happens is that, with the equity aspect of things, there's the actual curriculum that the school, the state, it does itself, right? And then we have the BSEP budget that goes into the pay for the teachers, the FTE, and basic operations of VAPA itself. And then there's the also larger budget that is a part of equity, and that is to shore up the things that the kids are not getting. Which is why I oversee certain contractors coming in. So it's lovely that we have teachers, but a lot of times, like all parts of the district, sometimes we have subs, and sometimes we end up having long-term subs. So getting contractors that can come in and shore up the education, because a lot of times when we have subs, they don't know how to teach music. Some subs we can actually have for a whole year. So we have to bring in contractors, or it's a factor of the cultural aspect. Though we are teaching notes, sometimes kids don't identify with just the basic music. We want to bring in different cultural aspects so that no matter what kid is sitting there, no matter what instrument they're playing, they see somebody that looks like them. And so paying for that through contracts, doing educational services. We have a Golden State of Song, which is basically up to the level of the state requirements for social studies. And we bring in people from the Ohlone tribe that talk about music. We do the Japanese concentration camp, the music that was done. We do the missions and how that affected both cultures and the music that was done there. And so these are items that are under my budget to supply for throughout the whole year.
So you are spending the money, or are you planning the budget also?
I'm planning the budget for that,
Mhm.
setting up the contracts for that, and hiring the people for that.
Got it.
And then I monitor if there's a contractor, I monitor to make sure they go and they do their services.
Mhm.
I go there and evaluate to see how it does for the kids, how it worked out, and then if it works out, then we do it again for next year. If not, we revamp it.
Got it.
And then there's internal programs that we did. One of the major ones that we do is that, since all kids get instruments for fourth and fifth grade, the question then became, how can we make this more equitable? You have kids that have the ability to afford lessons and they may already be involved in music, so they'll jump in and be able to pick an instrument. But what about the kids that have never even seen an instrument? So what I did is I designed a program called Pangea. And so kids come after they graduate from third grade, they come at the beginning of fourth grade, and we have this day where they try every instrument that we offer. I call them the 7 deadlies. So basically, it's the trumpet, the trombone, the violin, the viola, the cello, and they spend 45 minutes playing on each instrument. And we bring guest artists in that are top musicians in the Bay Area to work one-on-one with the kids. At the end of the day, not only have they tried all instruments, but they are able to play a song on each instrument as they leave the end of it. And then I write a nice little email. I apologize to the parents, to the noise they're about to get soon. And then I ask them, what's your first choice? And that way kids are making an informed first choice, as opposed to just having to pick an instrument and just hope it works out right. And so that takes certain amount of money to be able to hire the artists and to be able to provide the services. So there's internal programs, there's external programs, and then there's also contractors that we hire to support the teachers within the district.
Thank you. That is an extremely complete answer. I appreciate that.
No problem.
And then I guess I have a question, Erin, for you, which is, in terms of the placement, what I think happens next is actually, there's meet and confer with the union to see if they agree, right, with the placement.
Yeah, we did share this with the union already. I believe that, they've even discussed the process with Ms. J.
Yeah.
And so, I think everything was done in advance.
So everybody's fairly aligned.
Yes,
Great, okay.
I believe so. I haven't heard anything so far, so.
Well, thank you. Thank you for answering these questions. Go ahead.
I'll be very, very brief.
No.
I just want to thank you so much, Ms. Whittington, for coming in and explaining to us your job and what you do for the district. And just thank you for being a part of our district, on behalf of all the parents and all the kids that you help and will help. Thank you so, so much, because it's fantastic what you do. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so very much. Thank you.
Wish there were more people here.
Maybe seriously.
I will only echo Commissioner Rutter's sentiment. We appreciate the work you do, and I was not a good music student when I was in public school, but I know there are many who take better advantage of it than I did, so thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions from anybody? Okay,
So I'll move to approve this item.
job class, Jay, as is.
Yes.
We do have to do I first and then J.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I,
The first
right,
one,
I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Second.
Right. Okay, and I agree.
So the next item is to formally reclassify Ms. J into the VAPA program specialist classification.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I agree. Congratulations,
Thank you so very much.
and thank you so much again for your patience with us.
Yeah.
Yes, go get those black pants.
Thank
Yeah.
Thank you so
Could I
very much.
request a 2-minute break?
Sure.
I just gotta
Sure.
go.
Okay,
Take a break.
let's do it. Let's give ourselves a little time. 5-minute break, reconvene at 5:45. Are we ready to? Okay, we are back from our little break and we are ready to resume in section 12, our conference items. And Erin, did you say you saw someone online who belongs to one of these
Yeah,
items?
but I believe she's the second item, so I think we can just go in order, it should be okay.
Okay, okay. Then, let's go. Would you
Yeah.
please start with item A?
Okay, so, this is a step item, this item is a step advance request for Marcellus Clark. A school bus driver. Mr. Clark brings 2 years of relevant driving experience and holds all the required certifications. The classification, as we know, always is highly challenging to recruit for, due to the limited applicant pool and all the extensive licensing requirements. So I'm recommending approval of the advanced step placement, step 3.
Questions?
Not much of a question, but I think I understand. Just to go through, Aaron, so, Mr. Clark asked for step 5, you're recommending step 3. The write-up indicates, work history, 2 years of school bus driving. And, is that what, is equivalent to a step 3, under our rubric?
Yes.
And that's why,
Yeah.
you're recommending step 3.
That's correct.
Other questions? Anything from the online? Okay,
I'll move approval.
Second?
okay, and I agree. Step 3.
Okay. And then I do have to point out a typo, apologize here in this next item for Alexandra Celaya Dumas. On the 3rd paragraph, I indicated she had 2 years of direct experience, but actually counted 3 years. So that is a typo there. And so, she, has 3 years that I counted of experience supporting students with significant behavioral and special ed needs. And so, she is a newly hired IE2 bed. And so given her years of experience, I'm recommending, approval at step 4.
Questions from the,
Because this is the person who's on.
yeah. Commissioner Roder, do you have questions or?
Maybe after we hear from her.
Okay, all right. So, Alexandra, you're online?
Right. Yeah, I just have to let you guys know that I did lose my voice, so it's probably hard to hear me.
We can hear you fine.
Okay. Yeah, I was petitioning for step 5 due to my personal experience as well as my experience working with challenging cases. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know if you guys have any questions for me.
I don't. Do others?
So just in determining the relevant experience, I did look at her resume, and so I was diligently counting all the months and the years, and I counted, 8 months of experience as, the behavior tech, and then, from the position before, she was doing one-on-one aid, but, it seemed like it correlated with, no, sorry, it didn't correlate, but counting out from the, position she had back as a sped paraprofessional for Maxim, who's a contractor, I counted, only 3 years, so a total of 2, exactly, 3 years.
Total of 3 years.
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
right. And just to clarify, typically what we apply here to step requests is professional experience doing a role that is similarly situated to the role that you're applying for.
Right.
So, so for example, the warehouse experience, you've absolutely had other positions, but, apropos to this particular role that, you've applied for, the SPED 2, we would look at that and say it's not really relevant to this role, which is why we wouldn't count it. So
Right.
that's why we're counting the 3 years. Commissioner Roder, do you?
I would just say, we appreciate you coming to work for BUSD. We are very, very happy whenever we can hire an IA sped. It's good and important work. And we look forward to having you with the district.
Thank
And-
you. I appreciate it.
For sure. Do I have a motion? For step 4?
I move that we adopt the executive director's recommendation.
I'll second.
Okay, and I agree. So we'll, congratulations, step 4 placement.
Thank
And
you.
Alessandra, thank you for coming. I hope you get your voice back.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure. All right, so let's move on to item C.
So this next step advance request is from Crystal Ferguson. She requested a step 4. She has 4 years of relevant after school student support experience. She also has experience as an IA for a contractor and 6 units of college, but all in all, I counted 4 years as an IT. And then I'm also just considering her request for step 4, and that is my recommendation. So it's very simple.
And we do not see that she's on.
She's not.
Okay, okay, thank you. Commissioners, questions?
Oh,
I see Solis
I'm
counting.
ready to move approval, but
Commissioner Alford, questions?
My only question, and this may be, so if she had 4 years of experience, that gets her to step 4, not step 5. If we start at step 1, but it's only 3 years that you can bump.
It's 4 years, right?
4 years of experience would not bring her to step 5, because 1 year to
Yes,
get.
4 years would, but I'm looking at what her request was, which was step 4.
Oh,
Yeah,
we got it.
Mhm.
yeah, I think so.
So, you know, a question that I often have with this is making sure that we're distinguishing between after-school programs and day programs.
Yeah.
Because they're, you know, in my mind, they're different.
Yeah.
Right? So in this case, you've evaluated day programs, right? IA?
Yeah, but she also has after school, so she
Mhm.
did both. She's actually been at the school site as an IT contractor
Mhm.
for a long time before, I believe, sorry,
Since October 2021, is that the one
she
you're
was
looking
an
at?
IA, sorry, contractor.
Right.
And then also limited term IT.
Is that the earlier
January
experience?
2020.
2022, okay. And we think this has been full-time?
The IT, well, that's, I mean, the ITs are part-time.
To the
but-
degree there.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, full-time,
Yeah,
based on the way we do the roles.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so we think really, how many relevant years does she have?
Well, so the IT position would be about 3 to 4 years. 4 years, about over 4 years.
Well, January 2022 to 23 to 24 to 25, almost to 26.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so,
Yeah,
and the other positions, which also sort of show as through the present, I guess that's what confused me.
yeah, so she is in a unique situation where she is a contractor that was doing limited term IT work. She was offered the permanent IT position. She is somebody that I know is being looked at and recruited to also become an IA and then potentially be one of those employees that serves in 2 roles. Maybe even later on for the 410 schedule as well.
Got it, all right, so she's sort of holding down 2 jobs with us right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Commissioners?
Well, I mean, it always pains me when someone would qualify for a higher step placement than what they requested.
Well, and I think last time, you know, we adjusted for that.
Yeah.
You know, as I think we should do this time. You know, I don't know that people always understand what our process is.
And I mean, personally, and this is not necessarily a conversation for now. I don't understand why we asked them to identify their own step placement. We could just as easily have them request a step advance and we determine what the level is.
There's no rule that says they need to request a number. They can just request a step advance and then
Yeah.
based on our rubric, we could come up with the.
Yeah.
But I think the reason also is because I do believe that some of our candidates are hoping to start at a particular dollar amount and not getting that amount may determine whether they.
No, certainly. I just, the people we are hiring are not HR professionals. They're
Yeah.
not expected to be, and I don't think we should penalize them for not being experts in a position that they are not needed to be experts in. I think consistent with what we've done in the past, just from the past few meetings, I would make a motion that we approve the advanced step request placement at step 5. Consistent with her years of experience.
Concur? I do concur, but I'm curious to know why you don't.
Well, because as I've said in the past, I think that we should honor the request that the individual is making. We don't know. We're just speculating as to why the individual requested what he or she requested. And as stewards of the public funds in this district, I don't think we should go higher than the employee's request. So therefore I abstain, as I did last time.
Okay,
I appreciate consistency.
okay. All right, so you moved, I seconded, and Commissioner Roeder abstains, right? Okay, so it passes at step 5.
Okay.
All right, let's go on to item D.
So this next step advance request is for whom we study. Newly hired instructional tech for the after school program. Ms. Haddadi brings over 5 years of experience supporting students in both special ed and after school settings. And so given her qualifications and again, the recruitment challenges, I recommend the full step. Also counted over 5 years of experience. I had an interesting conversation as well with this employee, since she is also currently holding an IA position for Hayward Unified. I actively tried to recruit her to come work for BUSD. And she mentioned that unfortunately Hayward has a better pay rate. And so she'd be willing to, at this point, she's gonna commute, but maybe in the future she'll be joining us as an IA.
Good data.
Yeah.
Good data.
So I'm kind of curious as to how you got to 5 years. Because when I look at the professional summary, I don't get there.
Yeah, I was this one was a little more challenging because there were so many different types of jobs that she held, but ultimately I had to call her to just get more clarity on her experience. And so she let me know that her experience in the Tualatin Hills and Park Rec District was an after school program. And so that's when she had I think almost 3 years of experience in that role.
So let me double back then to after school experience versus day job experience. Because I've been operating under the assumption that after school is not the same as day experience and that we were only counting day experience. But it sounds like you are counting after school experience.
She's an IT.
Got it. Okay, then it's
Also has a
okay.
day job as an IA.
All right, I
That
see.
is-
Okay,
yeah.
all right, I see. Okay.
That's
Okay,
the position.
right.
that
It
she's
is an
currently
after school
in.
position.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry,
I understand.
I can see why you thought, because I mentioned
Okay.
the IA job at Hayward. but
Thank you,
she's
and-
working as an IT for us, so she's gonna have 2 jobs.
Okay, got it. She can get here in time for, well, different problem. Okay,
Yeah.
let's assume. Commissioners, other questions?
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
Okay, and I agree, all ayes, so we're saying step 5. Okay, and I'm sorry, who moved?
I did.
Okay,
Commissioner.
okay. All right, Let's move on to item E.
Mhm.
This next item is a step, request advance for Christine Lee as an instructional tech before and after school. She holds a degree, a bachelor's in elementary education and teaching. And she has, prior experience supporting district after school programs. So, I am recommending, a step advanced placement at step 5.
Commissioners,
How do we get to step 5 from?
So Miss Lee has, 4 years. Sorry, she has over 5 years of IT.
Okay, she listed 2 years on her form, but it sounds like there's more in her.
Yeah, so when, if you look at her resume, she was an after school.
Oh, I see.
Teacher from 2016 to 2012 to 2016.
I see. And
And then
her
she
educated
was
from
a-
19. Okay.
LFO contractor as well, so, yeah.
I have a question about the interval during which we entertain these. Because I see here, she started in August. I was under the impression we were a 90-day interval.
6 months.
We've been
Are
using,
we 6 months?
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
that's why I asked.
Yeah.
Watch now.
I guess the other question is when folks, I realize probably to save paper. And, and for some amount of privacy, we are not putting transcripts
Yes.
in
I'm
here,
working
but
on
you
it.
validated.
Yes, she
Okay.
submitted transcripts and.
Okay,
figured it out.
okay, all right. Probably a good thing to do is, just in that sentence, commission has validated that, so-and-so holds a degree.
And actually, I believe she might have just joined.
She's on, yes.
Yes.
Oh, good, okay, that's great. Hi, Christine, would you like to talk to us about your petition here?
Yes, I put it as step 5 mainly because I am meeting, if not exceeding, the job requirements. For example, the independent supervising of 18 to 20 students. I have my own class. And I am doing activities, STEM activities, and enrichments that at the same level as people who've been here for 14 years. I have the same duties. And I'm working with the kindergartners, TK, my own classes, 2nd grade and 1st grade, as well as subbing in for our 3rd to 5th grade.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I get sometimes we rotate a lot, especially last year because I was a contractor at my same location and Learns was a little shorthanded. So I'm at Bears and I flew it a lot into Learns to help out. So I've been working with the same kids for 2 years.
Sweet, very nice, thank you. Commissioners, questions?
no, I don't have any questions. I'm just, very pleased, to have, Ms. Lee, as a, regular, employee, at, Berkeley Unified, and we're fortunate to have her, and, I'm completely in favor of, the request.
Do I have a motion? Then?
I'll move, step 5.
I will second, and I will reiterate the thank you for coming to serve our district and our community in Berkeley. And we look forward to having you for many years.
And
Thank you so
Christine,
much, Commissioner.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All righty, let's move on to item F.
So this next item is for Gabriella Lerman, who's onboarded as an instructional tech for an after school. Ms. Lerman brings a strong background in youth services and holds an active EMT license. Given the difficulty recruiting for this role, she also holds a bachelor's from UC Santa Cruz for psychology. And so given the difficulty in recruiting for this role, I'm recommending a step 3 based on the fact that I can only find a total of 1 year of
1 year experience and the degree.
And to count the 1 year, what did you count? Because I had a similar problem.
Yeah. So I did consider the work that she did, in the, so the summer camp, working there. And then the Rocky Mountain Youth Corps for the AmeriCorps program. So, that was, I think, those two combined, I only got.
Okay, so you're sort of looking at a few stints of,
Yeah,
2 or 3 months. I mean, I'm a little confused because Rocky Mountain seems to overlap with Sierra Nevada Journeys.
Mm.
The summer camp, EMT Sierra Nevada Journeys. I think they're functioning as an EMT. Right? At the Rocky Mountain Youth Camp, it looks more program like.
yeah,
Okay. So yeah, and the background is great and I love the EMT cert. But the things that I think are relevant would be the Rocky Mountain Youth Camp. I think that the other camp is, working as an EMT.
yeah.
And let me just look, right,
Also-
the earlier was.
The health officer for Pines.
And the summer free, I know an after school, this is an after school job, there's a lot of enrichment classes, and so there's a lot of athletic. Teachers, so. Another. Actually.
I think a referee though is a referee, right?
Yeah.
Referee is games. Right? I mean, am I missing something or no?
I don't, some instructors just do that only, like that's their enrichment, activity. It looks here like she was leading those outdoor games, but I know it's not completely the same. It's another little challenging.
Yeah, yeah, I'm having some trouble here.
I believe, she was here though,
Good,
so
okay,
maybe she can shed some more clarity.
that would be great. Gabriella, are you here?
Hello, everybody. My name is Gabriella Lerman. I was actually a student with BUSD, so I grew up in the BUSD schools. Basically, as an emergency medical technician, I was kind of like the highest level medical provider for 3 summer camps. So I was basically in charge of like any type of first aid, but also like seizures, panic attacks, students that had like there's a kid that had like a peanut allergy. I was in charge of like administering EpiPen. I was also in charge of like the COVID procedure. So like if there were any COVID outbreaks, I was also in charge of that. So it's just like a very high level of responsibility in terms of liability. I was also in charge of all the prescription medications. So there'd be like the first camp I worked there for 2 summers. So I was in charge of around 200 kids' daily prescription medications. So that's what I did for about 3 summers. And I guess I understand why there is some confusion with the resume. It's very long, but I guess how I would rephrase it is that I have like a very specific training in working with kids in overnight settings and in healthcare that I think a lot of like the staff don't really have any first aid training, let alone like kind of like more specialized training in that scenario. So I did that for 3 summers. I also worked in the pharmacy. I'm also a pharmacy technician. So I worked in the pharmacy in CVS in Berkeley for about 6 months. I also worked in other healthcare settings. And then last season in the fall of 2025, I coached a 11-year-old girls like competitive soccer team through the Albany Berkeley Soccer Club. So I think all that experience is why I think I should be given step 5. Even though I was an EMT, I also I also am very excited about education, and that's like part of the reason why I'm working in the schools, because I like kind of the combination of working with kids. And even in the positions when I was working as a medical technician, I was also helping lead programming. Like I led some of the evening activities, I lifeguarded. So I have a lot more skills in terms of like education and leading and instruction that you may not be able to tell from how I do my resume, because I had it as a resume that was more for like highlighting my medical experience, not so much as like highlighting my work with kids and like how that I think helps in a position like in after school.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Up.
I don't know. I mean, I think that there's a reasonable question as to whether the soccer referee should count towards this particular experience. But it seems like in both the summer camp setting, she was doing more than just medical prevention, right? So in the health officer Circle Pine Center, she was doing political education, providing emotional support to campers. So I think that working with the kids in that environment goes beyond just the strict medical. It's also social experience in the classroom setting. If not, not technically classroom, but certainly with after school and summer camp, there's a lot of overlap. So between the 3 summer camps, I think we can get to a year. And then that plus the degree, we get to step 3, right?
Question?
I think it's a minimum of step 3, frankly. I mean, I think I'm not sure why we would be discounting the EMT work in a organized, child-centered environment that if you're in charge of providing all the medical care for these children in a summer camp program, I think that's sufficiently related to the work that's done in the before and after school program at Berkeley as to provide credit toward a step advance for that. Counting up precisely how many years, because it is summers and it's not real clear. It's not quite as straightforward as just working, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years. But it strikes me that a minimum of step 3 and maybe even higher.
And just to counting up the months for the 3 summer camp health officer positions or health positions, that's exactly 12 months.
Well, I'm a little confused because actually I see June 2021 through August 2021
Twice.
repeated twice.
Yeah.
So what is it?
Yeah, maybe we should ask her that.
Yeah, I thought that was a typo.
Right. Gabriella, are you able to help us understand? Did you hold 2 positions simultaneously, June through August of 2021?
I think that is
Or-
probably a mistake. And I can clarify it too in terms of hours. So basically, June 2021 was when I was working at for a trail crew, and that was the Rocky Mountain Youth Corps. It was like manual labor type work. But we did have some medical experience there. We did some search and rescues, but that wasn't specifically working with kids. 2022 to 2024, so 3 summers, I was working full time. The last summer, I was the only medical staff person, so I was basically working from 7 a.m. until 11:30, 6 days a week. So in terms of hours,
I'm sorry, wait, which place was this 2022 through 2024?
So I spent 2 summers. So for Sierra Nevada Journeys, which was like an outdoor education camp. So they also did a lot of science programming that I also, got to be a part of. So they did that and that's Sierra Nevada Journeys. And that's an overnight camp. And I worked there for 2 summers and that was full time. So if you count up the hours, 2 months full time. So for 2 summers, it's more around 600 hours. And then the 3rd year, I worked at a co-op in Michigan called Circle Pine Center, and that I was the only medical staff person at that camp. I didn't have a coworker, so I was basically working from 7 a.m. until 11 p.m. midnight every day, 6 days a week. So that was a lot more hours. So I think in terms of I definitely understand it can be hard because it isn't I had those full-time positions during the school year because I was a student, but I think combined, those 3 experiences definitely get me to at least 1,500, around a year of full-time experience, working with kids because it was full-time or even more than full-time in terms of hours. And then if you add the pharmacy tech job, which I've been doing now for a year, that's another 1,000 hours. So in terms of medical experience, it's probably around 2,000 or so.
So I'm gonna make sure I understand correct. Rocky Mountain Youth Corp, AmeriCorps program, June 2021 through August 2021. Those dates are correct.
Yes.
Okay. Summer Camp EMT Sierra Nevada Journeys. I'm getting rid of June 2021 through August 2021 because those dates are not correct, right?
Yes.
What are
Yes,
the
it would
correct
be,
dates?
the correct dates would be June 2022. So it was one summer, June 22 to to August 22, so 2 months. And then the next year I repeated it again. So then it was June 2023 to August 2023.
Right.
Okay, and then Circle Pines Center was June 2024 to August 2024.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So a question for our executive director. Does this position require our position? Does it require medical background?
Is it required? No.
Does it list medical background as nice to have?
Oh, I believe that first aid CPR maybe is definitely something that eventually,
I'm looking for something to tie this
yeah.
to our position, so help me.
I want to be absolutely sure that that's in there because I know that it is in several of our paraeducator positions, so let me just bear with me.
Sure.
In the licenses, no requirements, section, first aid and CPR certificates issued by authorized agency.
So yeah, so under that minimum qualifications, there it says preferred.
Preferred.
First aid and
Okay.
CPR.
Okay, great. And we have validated the BA and the EMT cert.
Yes, she did submit everything.
Great, okay, so they're validated, great, okay. So we have 4 years of 3 months each for summer work.
3 years of 3 months each.
No, 4 years, 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024.
But 2021 was not youth. 2021 was youth corps. She was one of the people in the youth corps. She wasn't overseeing.
I see, okay, thank you, okay, got it, this is 3 years, okay.
Yeah, 3 years of 3 months.
3 months, so we've got 9 months.
9 months and her start date now.
Okay.
If she is. We could count any of that time towards when she started, it was the August of the.
It started with us, what it says in here is started in November.
Yeah. Don't know, that's
November.
all of November.
Okay, well, commissioners,
So we got-
I'll take a motion from some.
I'll move the recommendation of 3, the step 3. I think we can find closer to or about a year and then the degree.
The referee with the,
I can't
no,
include that, no. But, okay, so, I have a motion for step 3.
Well, on the motion, I guess I'll dissent a little tiny bit, that I do actually think that being a referee, and I guess it's three summers of being a referee, again, is work with 6 and 7-year-olds.
Sure.
I mean, as I look at it, it's sort of, was this person employed in a capacity, working with, in an organized capacity, working with children? And I'm not certain that one has to be doing the exact kind of work that a before and after school employee is performing, as long as it's sufficiently connected. So I would count up if I were doing it, and I guess my recommendation is to take, I agree with the counting of the basically 1 year for the positions at Sierra Nevada, the EMT related positions. And then I would provide 1 additional year for the work as the soccer referee plus the bachelor's degree equals 3, and therefore despite the fact that the applicant is asking for a step 5, I sort of feel a step 4 would be appropriate.
I guess my response would be, I think between the experience at Circle Pines and the Sierra Nevada summer camp, we get to about 9 months. And I think I would agree that I think that the soccer coaching could be considered in some capacity, but it's not a full-time job. And so if you add about the hours that reflects to the 9 months of experience you have from the, healthcare for youth, I think you get to plus or minus a few months of around a year. So that's where I would land.
So I would be prepared to second a step 3. We're thin, guys. I don't think the soccer experience is relevant. I think 9 months of full-time summer camp comes to about 9 months, which is about a school year.
Right.
So I can match to that. So I can support step 3.
The only thing I would say is that, what's the FTE for before and after school program?
It ranges from like usually 0.4 up to 0.53. Sometimes it can go a little higher, but
So it's
typically it's like 0.53, 0.47.
at most half-time, so that's kind of.
I'm not doing that math against this. I'm just doing
Right,
runtime experience.
right, but to accept, if the position is a part-time position, and then to require full-time experience.
We actually have not required full-time experience in this
Yeah,
discussion.
but I don't.
What we've taken is
I
part-time
understand.
summer work.
Right, I don't
Yeah.
disagree with
Yeah.
what the two of you feel.
So, okay, so what was motioned was
Motion with
step
accept the staff
3,
recommendation.
right? I'm gonna second.
I agree.
Commissioner Roder, how do
I
you feel?
agree.
Okay, all aye. Okay.
Thank you for your patience.
Gabriella, thank you. And congratulations, step 3 placement.
Thank you. I appreciate everyone and I hope you guys have a good night.
You as well. Happy holidays.
Thank you very much.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy holiday.
All right, let's move on to G.
So, this.
For G or F?
This next item.
Oh,
Is. Step advance request for Ridan Moharam. Newly hired instructional assistant to, special ed. Ms. Moharam brings 3 years of direct support experiences. She did work in an early childhood education, setting, but, assisted students with special needs in that program. And then also, Ms. Moharam has a degree as well that county was an additional step, so I'm recommending a step 5. Oh, I'm sorry, this Moharam requested a step 4, sorry, I'm requesting a step 4.
You requested a step 5.
So it looks like she circled that out in the original copy, and then in her write-up, she wrote step 4.
I think that I see, I mean, what I'm focusing on is UC Berkeley Early Childhood Education Program Teacher Assistant. Is that what you're looking at?
Yes, and I spoke to her to get clarity on that role, and so she did say that it was a formal ECE program at UC Berkeley, and that they had several special ed students that she worked with.
And I think I see 2.5 years in that, right? August 22 to April 2025.
That kind of somewhere, I guess, yeah, like just a
Well,
well, I don't.
I don't know if
Yeah.
this was continuous
Right.
or not, maybe, because ECE, tends to run
Cool.
year round.
Yeah, year round.
So I see, certainly a robust 2 years here. You validated the degree.
Yes.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're okay on that. What else are we counting here?
So. That's it.
That brings it to step 4.
4.
Four.
Is that right?
Well, are we counting 2 years? Are we counting 3 years? in
Well, if we count 2
degree?
years plus the
2
degree,
years
that would
plus
get
the
us to
degree.
4.
Yeah. She has.
That gets us to 4, right?
So
Okay,
3 years.
right. Okay, and, okay. Do I have a motion?
So I move that we concur with our executive director's recommendation, step 4.
I second.
Okay, I agree.
So the next request is from Adam Vizio, instructional technician, he's from Apple School. Mr. Trujillo has supported the district after school programs in the past and the summer programs as well. He holds the para educator certification through Alameda County Office of Ed. However, this is for the IT position. I counted, well, Mr. Trujillo requested a step 2. And he does have experience as an ELEVO coach in the after school program in Berkeley. And so I will mention that we do contract coaches. They do very similar work to our IT, some of our ITs who are leading those enrichment classes. So
And he has 2 years of experience, is that right?
2 years as a coach, yes. Oh, actually, well.
September to
yeah.
September. 1.5.
1.5.
Mm-hmm. Right. Do you know any more about the coaching, like the ages, the sports? Was this, continuous full time? Was it just a season?
Well, he was already working through as a contractor in the LEARNS program at Sylvia Mendes and King. I'm not sure how many hours or the type of schedule.
While he was a coach? Or are you looking at the May 2025 to present?
I'm looking at the coaching.
Uh-huh.
And that was being done at Sylvia Mendes and.
I see, okay.
And all we need is 1 year to get to step 2.
And we think it was like a year-round position in the
Yeah.
LEARNS? Or the Bears?
Yeah,
Or
it seems
both?
like for LEARNS after school, yeah,
Yeah, at both places?
yes.
Okay.
And he was a rec and park commissioner. Wonderful.
Okay, so we think we see a year and a half in coaching. Right? No, actually, we see 2 years, right? September 23, hang on, to May 24. And then September 24 to June 25. So we see 2 years in coaching. Correct?
Yeah, 2 years in coaching.
Okay. And we see half a year in IT.
For 3 years.
Okay. So, based on that, we want to take another run at where we think the correct placement is. I understand he asked for 2.
Is this a hard to fill? Oh, yes, it is.
Yes.
I guess it is. Yeah, yeah.
And he is a contractor that we were able to recruit,
Uh-huh.
so.
So do we think step 2 is correct?
If we can find 2+ years of experience, I would go for a 3.
I think we found that, right?
Yeah.
I think we have 2 years coaching. And we're sure it was, full-time after school coaching, right? And we have half a year of IT work now. As a contractor, or this is someone who was hired in August, okay, right? So,
Officially hired.
okay, so we're still within the 6 months. So, I think we're at step 3, based on the experience that we see here.
I will move placement to step 3.
Second, he's not here, but someone wanted to speak on his behalf. It's okay.
You sure?
Go ahead, Chris.
Thank you. I'm his coworker, and I was also in the same position he was as a coach. It says coach, but it's not a sports coach. It's doing the same work as an after-school IT. where you're doing mainly also emphasis on ESL. That is what Elivo was training us on. And then his group was third grade, if I remember correctly. And he was actually my supervisor last year at some point he is the site lead. He is my direct supervisor, as well as he also did the summer program here for Learn. And he has the same sorry, think of the word, doing the same thing as I'm doing. So I would petition he actually have more experience directly with the district than I do, that he should earn a higher step. He's not, he did too, because he was worried that asking too much would reflect badly on him.
You are a very kind coworker to speak for him. And please understand, I appreciate your speaking for him. And we work from the documentation that we have. We need to. But thank you. And he sounds like a good candidate. Based on what I see here, I think I'd feel comfortable at a step 3.
Yeah, I'll move step 3.
I see.
Okay, I'll second. All right, we're almost done there.
So we are done with the step advance request.
Right, we have items K and L still to go in section 12.
Okay. So the next item is a request to initiate the reclassification process for the incumbents that are in the vehicle and equipment mechanic classification within the transportation department. The request was actually submitted by the transportation manager, Sheila Collier. And so I'm just requesting that the commission approves to initiate that reclass process.
Does anybody have questions,
I have
please?
one question. When I was looking at these, I was sort of scratching my head a little bit because, although I'm totally in favor of going ahead with this study, is it actually necessary that the commission authorize you to perform this study? I was under the impression that you could do this on your own initiative and then just bring us back the results.
Yeah, I personally, I've looked back at past practice and I feel like it's a good way to formalize that process and initiation of it. There are gonna be occasions where I might get a request to start the process and the incumbent might not even qualify, because let's say they weren't in the position for 2 years. So then at that point, even the request should not be considered at that point.
Unless it were a peak.
Well, if they haven't met 2 years of graduate appreciation duties, then I don't even think there's an appeal for that. For denying that, so. So I think just as a way to formalize it, it's a good practice, but we could bring it as a discussion item. You know, I just like to put it out there, you know, as just also like a way to record the time, because, you know, it is time bound. So, but it's up to you all how you want to move forward with this.
Does it delay?
No, no, because for example, in this case, I already have a draft of a revised job description. So I'm already meeting with these managers
That's
and
right.
moving forward. Yeah,
That's what I was concerned about it, but
no,
waiting for us at a formal meeting
No.
to approve something would delay the analysis, but sounds like it doesn't.
I have a question. How many people are in this job classification currently?
2.
Just 2, okay.
And the reason that this was brought forward, part of the reason was because we do have a vacancy. And it's been very difficult to fill that vacancy.
Gotcha.
And then also the manager has reservations about the current job description because it doesn't address some air brake certifications that are needed now and some work with electric vehicles, which is like gonna be the next big thing. And so, you know, we definitely have a lot of meetings we still need to have with the incumbents, with the union. But this is just the initial request, and then they might even be looking at reorganizing their department to maybe create like, you know, an entry level position. But it's still, this would still cover the incumbents that already have these certifications, according to the managers, they already have the certifications needed to, you know, if we were to reclass, they've already achieved or got certain certifications that are needed.
Mhm.
So.
And we have one incumbent, really, we're talking
Two,
about.
so 2 incumbents and 1 vacant.
Ah, I see. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
What do you all feel about the process for bringing that request formally to the meeting? I mean, it could just be a discussion item. And if that's
Mhm.
preferred.
You know, my sense is in the future, it is probably just a discussion.
Yeah.
Item, you know, to let us know it's happening, you
Yeah.
know, and one, to make sure we don't delay. I
Yeah.
mean, in this case, we didn't delay, but.
Yeah.
You know, something else might be happening. And its value as a discussion item, frankly, I think is more when you have the circumstance where. You know, a staff member perhaps has requested it, and we know that the functional head or the manager actually doesn't support it, you know, and we would just want to understand the circumstances going in. It wouldn't mean we wouldn't do it, you know, it would just mean we'd be aware that. Those were the dynamics.
Agreed.
But, you know, it's here, so
Yeah.
let's go ahead and vote on it.
I move approval.
Second.
Okay, and I agree.
So this next request is very similar. It came in. This is for the to start the reclass process for the incumbents in the payroll specialist classification. In this case, the employee submitted the agenda item request. However, I have spoken already to their their supervisors, Pauline, currently right now. And so we have had discussions about this already. And so we're just bringing this item forward tonight to begin the process.
And can I just clarify? We just hired someone in this position,
In the supervisor.
in the supervisor. Okay, this
We
is
did
special.
okay, you actually are probably remembering that we did hire a specialist a couple months ago, but they have resigned. So we have also,
So this is a vacancy?
there's 2 incumbents and 1 vacant.
Same.
Yeah. same
Okay.
thing. Yeah.
And how does the manager feel about this?
There is no supervisor.
Yeah,
Well, Pauline effectively, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if the supervisor is vacant.
she was open to meeting with me, so.
Uh-huh. Okay,
Move approval.
I'll second.
okay, I agree. Okay. And I'm sorry, who moved on that?
I did.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Can I request a 1-minute break before our election so I can speak without?
yes, of course. All right, so we're gonna take a little break. It's 6:39. Let's come back at 6:45. Okay, we are resuming at 6:41, which is a little earlier than the 6:45 time I said, but because this particular item is not one where the public necessarily would comment, and because public comment follows it, we will make sure that public comment begins at 6:45, just in case anyone has taken a little break. So
I'll filibuster till 6:45.
there you go. Secretary, would you like to introduce this next one?
Yes, this next item relates to the personnel commission election of the chairperson and vice chairperson for the 2026 calendar year. Typically we rotate. And so, doing that and taking into account who's in place now is, Vice Chair Alpert would be next in line to be chairperson, and he has expressed wanting to assume that role, so it's up to you to.
Please.
Well, since we have another 3 minutes, I will spend some of that time extolling the virtues of our current chairperson.
Oh, aren't you nice?
And I think that this will have been the third term, end of the third term, that I've been on the commission, that Heidi has been chairperson. And in each of those years, you've just been exemplary.
That's so nice. Thank you.
You know, totally fair to everyone who wants to speak, and you know, we do rotate like this, so I guess we'll miss you for a few years as chairperson. But I just want to thank you personally for having been such a wonderful chairperson. So,
Thank you. It's been my pleasure to do it. This is a great board to work with.
I will echo, and I know we had a very challenging year in a number of different ways between the budget and layoffs and all those things, and it was very reassuring to have a stable and learned hand at the helm. So between you and Aaron, I think we did a good job of weathering various storms.
We did. There will be more next year.
Yeah,
Whoever takes this. So one year you said nice things and you set me up to be the chair again. You're not gonna do that, are you?
No, I think you've worked hard enough on this position that I am happy now that I have about still a minute and a half to extol the virtues of vice chairperson.
There you go.
Albert. And knowing, having gotten to know you for about a year now, I'm very pleased to nominate you as chairperson next year of the Personnel Commission. Know you'll do a wonderful job, and given all of your experience with the city of Berkeley, that brings a little added flavor to it, which I know I'm going to appreciate.
Well, thank you very much. I would graciously accept the nomination.
Plus, on Rent Board, have you served as chair of Rent Board?
I'm
or-
still
or
chair
no?
of board.
You're right, you're still chair.
I'm in my second going into, well, tomorrow we will have an election to determine whether I remain chair.
I was gonna say, right, does that end or when does that end? Right.
Usually we serve 2 years as chair, but there's another vote.
Got it, okay.
I haven't heard any whispers about it, but who knows?
All right.
Well, I'm glad we get to go first.
I am glad we get to go first.
Well, thank you
and
very
I'm happy to co-nominate, second, whatever, for you to
Well, thank
serve in the role as chair, because I know you'll do a great job. And if you are worried about something that goes on, I know you will ask for
Yeah.
help.
Well, and I was gonna say, I mean, should we vote first and then I should talk or?
I-
should
Yeah.
Probably. Okay, all right. So remind me again, MSNV.
Motion second and vote.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. I always look at those and I'm like, which, okay, so, Chairperson Roder made the motion, right? And I seconded.
And I will vote
Okay.
yes.
Okay, so that's
Okay, and we all vote yes.
3 in the affirmative.
Yes.
You know, I'm, of all the three of us, the least experienced. Oh,
One more, so now vice chairperson, same process.
oh, sure. I would like to nominate Commissioner Roder, I believe, who is next in the circulation.
Mhm.
And I'll just say for both, you know, while you will not be of chair or vice chair, I will be relying on you for your knowledge and expertise. I think that the three of us bring very different sets of experience, and I think that's very valuable. So I'm
That's the lovely part of the group, Brand, right? Right? The fewer overlapping skills, the better.
Yes.
Right? I would second your nomination for Commissioner Roder to be.
Accept and vote yes.
Okay. Now everybody can talk about what they want to do in
Yes.
their role. Okay.
Well, it sounds like we will be weathering a number of crises again. You know, not trying to forecast anything out too early, but you know, budget situation will not be
Great.
easy.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to working with our staff and supporting our staff in making sure that they have the resources they need to get through this process. Hopefully it is a more transparent process than last time. You know, with the last cycle of layoffs, we had a lot of notices, and I'm hoping that, you know, I know that our staff don't get to decide the number, the volume, but whatever input we can give to try and make right size the number of notices to the number of actual resulting layoffs will significantly decrease both our workload and the stress for the entire community. So whatever we can do to advocate for that, I wanna be partners in that. And then likewise with our budget, I think that we did a good job. We agonized over our budget last year in making, I think, appropriate but painful cuts to support the broader district. And I know that we'll all work together to make sure that our work from last year is noticed and recognized when the budgeting comes again this year. And look forward also to having a fully staffed department. And then I know that Commissioner Roeder has been on a mission to review the merit rules. And I want to support you in that and turn it over to you.
Well, hold on one second. I actually finished my part of it.
Yeah.
And it was going now to Heidi and Aaron, and I know that until we had all of the crises that you were just describing, they had completed quite a few of the sections. So we do have to, I think.
We have to, absolutely. We got as far, we finished section 4.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
I think
were we in
got
section
further
5?
than that. Yeah.
All right, yeah. So we, yes, we need to resume.
And do you, are you two, up for, continuing that process?
I am, we.
Oh, good.
Something
I don't want to
we
interrupt the process.
Probably should consider is your comments, to help us get through. Section 7. If I'm remembering right, we have 7 sections, right?
8.
8. All right, I've been away from it long enough. I need to look before I speak. Yes, we will resume, and if there's work that you've already done, in the name of not burning time and reinventing the wheel, we may look very closely at what you've done and decide
Sure.
if we think it's ready to start moving
Right,
forward.
I know
public
mine,
process.
there were some, real policy questions as to, there were differences between how the model merit rules that the CSPCA had suggested versus our current
Right.
rules. And those bring up some real policy questions that do need to be discussed publicly
Yep.
and discussed with our other stakeholders.
All right, good. So we're all agreed. Yes, we want to update
And it'll
those.
probably solidly fall on you and Aaron to work on the scheduling of any, public meetings that we want.
Yeah, and I definitely, to your point, we need to make sure that we give ample time to get feedback both from the district and the union.
Yeah.
And make sure that we're considering all the different things that we need to be considering.
Well, January, February, March, before budget stuff really heats up, is gonna be our window. So we'll start to schedule those. All right, can we declare section 13 done? Item 13, I think we've elected our new chairperson, Solly Albert, unanimously. And our new vice chairperson, Izzy Roeder, unanimously. So let's move on to item 14, which is public comment. And there's no one from the public in the room. So I'll open it to the online. Is there anyone who'd like to make a comment? All right, seeing none. Anybody in the room? No? Okay, all right, seeing none. Our next meeting in 2026 is January, this is why I keep it on a calendar to get the right date. January 28th, right? Are we doing it back at Addison Street?
I think we did say that we would, go back to the boardroom if it's available. There is a date where we're gonna have a conflict, but it's not until May.
May.
Okay.
Well, we had also talked about moving the February date. I'll get to that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
All right, but
That is
okay,
important.
the 128 is at Addison Street is what we're planning. Okay. Same time. We had talked in February about moving it from the 25th to the 26th,
Right.
to a Thursday,
This is the February meeting?
February, right?
And that
Um,
would work for me.
yes, I can do that.
So
25th to the 26th.
to the 26th, Thursday, the 26th,
So we
same
may-
time, 4:30.
I
We
think
won't be
we'll
able to
have
do it in the boardroom, it'll have to be here.
It'll have to be
Okay, so that'll be a Parker.
Thursday or
Okay. All right, at Parker, 4:30.
Okay, great.
All right. And with that, it's 6:52. We'll declare ourselves adjourned. Okay. Thank you.
Because